Here we are, folks. Right now, these two players are tied at 9 wins in the group. This is their final rounds. And depending on what the result is, one of these players can go first place with this result. Now, if Kasva wins 2-1 or 3-0, he is confirmed first and will go up to Platinum League. And he's actually, he's actually going to the middle with the Villager right now. I think this is for an early dock, by the way. I do not think that's for a lumber camp. So that's something. He might be trying to deny the dock from Lewis. We'll see. If Lewis wins 2-1 or 3, well, if he wins 3-0, excuse me, he's first. But if he, oh my God. Hold up. Man, I didn't even have time to talk about it. Basically, these guys can go first. I thought we'd have a longer Dark Age where I could talk about what Kasva told me and what I've known about Kasva's preparation. But guys, Kasva is showing the strats here. Kasva says Lewis is going to dock the middle with the Chinese. He's already got a nice Vill lead. He's going to send 4 to wood and add some fishing ships. I am going to lame the pond. Now, did he get every spot? You would need to place a palisade perfectly in every single location, and technically you could deny the dock. I don't know. Can you dock here? I don't think you can because of the shorefish. This is crazy. Now, if this doesn't work, it's going to be so horrible. But all that his opponent Lewis is going to do, Lewis is going to push in the deer. Lewis is going to wait to send the Vill. He's going to know the pond is out there, so he has no clue what is in store for him. I am kind of curious, though. Can't Lewis just attack the palisade, take out one of the palisades, and then dock anyways? This could be seen as a risk. It does kind of disrupt your own build. You're also not docking yourself. Wait! He's going to make it so he can dock and his opponent can't. This is actually insane. So, guys, I don't know what you do for a job, okay? But Kasva is a night nurse, okay? Kasva is a full-time nurse. He was full-time AoE at one point. He's been working night shift, and he told me he's very confident. He's been envisioning strategies as he has the time. He's thinking about what he can do, and he thinks he's very confident. He says he's not scared of Lewis's style. Now, can Lewis dock at all? Lewis can't believe what he just saw. Lewis is like, huh? What do I do? Now, I think this is the right play. Because that's a Dark Age Palisade. I think this is the right play. You need to just attack the Palisade. You should be able to take it out. Kasva, I don't know if this is necessarily worth it, unless he denies the dock. He's bringing his Vill. He's also bringing his Eagle. And Lewis is going to need to see this. And Lewis does not see it. And Kasva completely works him. Oh my God, dude. I am mind blown. That was absolutely sick. When the wins matter this much, Kasva traps the scout. He denies the dock. And Lewis is like, are you kidding me? He's like, please don't let them be everywhere. He's like, there's no way he did it everywhere, right? There's no way he did. Oh, there's a spot. Nope. Holy crap, guys. This is sick. And by the way, the whole build is adapted for this. He has so much wood now that was designed to be spent. And in all of the preparation, I guarantee you that Lewis never faced up against this. And now we'll see if Lewis can adapt this. Now, Kasva's build isn't exactly perfect. Oh my God. Oh, no. Well, he lost the Vill because he was a little focused. And his eco is pretty disastrous. But Lewis doesn't know that. Lewis doesn't get to know that. And I guess he does have the fish. Now, is this horrible for Lewis? No, it's not. He's Chinese. He's still got the villager lead. His eco has been flowing much better because he had the lumber camp initially. So Lewis doesn't have his scout. That's not great. He will push in the deer with his Vill. And he'll aim to click up the Feudal Age here. He just won't be able to have the fish. But you know, it's not like Kasva necessarily has 3 or 4 fishing ships yet. We'll eventually get there, and then if any Civ can play without the fish, it would probably be the Chinese. Now, I want to finish what I was saying about Kasva. He says that everyone seems to have pretty much of an idea of who's training with who. Lewis has been taken under the wing of some high-level players in Platinum. I think there's some conversations probably with Hera, with Hart, with Leary. Those seem to be the players that I'm hearing chatter about. And so they would have never prepped him for this, but he's looked really good this season. He's looked really good. So he's a tough player to kill. Typically, he's a little bit more defensive than a player like Kasva. And so anytime Kasva can get an early lead over Lewis today, I think that's gonna go pretty well for him. And yeah, the people that Lewis trains with or talks to might say this strategy's stupid. They might not say it's good because of the expense of the eco, but that is some control for Kasva to start it off. And what a fun play. I actually think the whole thing is worth it just to kill the scout. Denying the dock, killing the scout, it's just huge. And now Lewis is going to have a game plan. And the game plan is to come back onto water? So Kasva, funnily enough, can just block the dock foundation with a fishing ship. So even if this palisade goes down, Kasva could just put a fishing ship there. So Lewis is going to try and dock, and Kasva could just sit there. You can't dock there now. That's so smart from Kasva. I'm really surprised Lewis is trying to come back. Again, he's never seen this before in his entire life. He will also go archers. He will still have good eco, but you're not going to dock. And Kasva, I think, just wants to replace the palisade because he doesn't want to have his fish there all the time. And Lewis trying to trap him here. And Kasva says, I can quick wall too. And, dude, Kasva's playing confident, man. Kasva's playing confident. I gotta say that. Now, I don't know how clean it's going to be because you're seeing a lot of the aggression, but the eco is important. And I think Lewis's eco is going to be pretty clean right now. At least it looks like it. He snagged double bid axe. He has the archers already. And sure, he doesn't have the fish, but being faster to archers can be pretty important. Still no archer range for Kasva. And he will tower that wood line ahead of time. I think he knew the range was up already and was concerned about that. And so now Lewis is going to move out to try and contest the water. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but the opponent's got a fire galley there already. I really think Lewis is confused because he's never seen this before. So he's unsure of himself. He does have fletching, but the tower will be up. But Kasva, still no range of his own. Now, those archers could do some real damage here. This is a problem for Kasva. You've seen the aggression. You've seen the craziness. But does he have the economy to defend from this yet? Guys, you're seeing the nerfs. He gets housed. Villagers having to quick wall all the time. Behind this, Lewis staying super consistent. Really clean play from him. He might not have the score lead. He might not have the fish, but I'm liking his setup at the moment. Kasva definitely has messier play. Lewis is just the type of player who... he's more of your standard land map player, like the new era style land map player. Kasva reminds me of Arabia players from 2018. Loves his towers, loves a lot of extra army. There's a lot of scrappiness. He likes to go for numbers instead of the clean play. And Lewis kills off the eagle. Not bad for him, but not too bad for Kasva. If he starts to get those farms down, he'll have skirms, he'll have archers, he'll have eagles. The fish are just about to run out there. Still is the short fish, but still. So, this would be a big one for Lewis. I mean, to be able to basically say to Kasva, your craziness can't stop me. I think it was a good move from him to give up the water. And I don't think Kasva is expecting this quick of a follow-up. Sure, the archer gets picked off there, but that's very quick scout follow-up here from Lewis. And Lewis's eco is flying behind this. Should be able to snipe this archer if he blocks it. Yep, and he'll block that. And that's 2 kills there from Lewis. That's huge. Again, I keep looking back at these farms. Farming eco is just now coming up from Kasva, but this... Another defensive tower now from Kasva on the gold. He just doesn't really have a lot of army right now. I'm really curious to see what Lewis does now, though, because... Again, this is such a unique situation. I didn't see every single Lewis game, but I saw most of them. And I think he's going to see these towers, and it's just not a situation he's encountered a lot before. There will always be just enough army from Kasva here to make Lewis think that he's not able to do damage. Now, will he be patient here? We'll see. Kasva producing eagles and producing archers, but I really think archers is going to be the key. Just super defensive now. Lewis's eco has been untouched, except for the fish. If Chinese could have a super smooth Dark Age and Feudal Age like this, this is great. Who cares about the opening? I think Kasva is really going to lean on the market here to get to Castle Age at some point. He's not going to be able to compete with the food income. He's been pulled off the berries. And this is some energy that you'll see in games where players know how important the wins are. Lewis says, I'm not even going to boom. I'm going to sell off my stone. I'll use the market. Rush the Castle Age timing as quickly as possible. But he just sold his stone. There's an army coming from Kasva. Again, this is such a classic player thing. Like, defense with walls and towers and counterattack is such a common thing for players who've been playing for 10 plus years. And Lewis now doesn't have defense. He doesn't have defense. He would have clicked up to Castle Age at a pretty reasonable time regardless. But he sold his stone, and now he doesn't have a tower here. Kasva uses the gate he placed before. He's got an army here that Lewis can't deal with. Now, Lewis does have an army here, which Kasva isn't reacting to because Kasva is looking here. And this is going to be painful for Lewis. This is horrible for Lewis. His army needs to come back. You can tell the scouts are on the way back. But he's lost a couple vills here. It could definitely be worse. I think it's not worse for him because he's micering here. And he's killed multiple vills. And he's killed all the archers. And the scouts are back from Lewis. So in the end, Lewis is actually okay. It could have been so much worse for him. Great job to get some damage in on Kasva as Kasva was hitting the wood line. And a lot of people would bring, like, maybe they bring both their armies back. They bring the archers and the scouts back. But to leave the archers and to send the scouts back was perfect. Now Kasva's on the way to Castle Age. And Lewis won't have much of an army when he makes it to Castle Age to upgrade. So this will probably become a little bit of a boom game. But what a game, man. I personally can feel the moment. I love this. It's pretty much within their control. There is licks to worry about. But win this series, and you might be first in the group. We are confirmed to see whoever loses this in the playoffs regardless. They could still make it to Platinum. And Kasva, just such an army problem now. We'll drop a tower there. But, you know, Lewis is in an interesting spot because he lost a lot of his archers. He doesn't have a big archer mass. I like the Cav Archer choice, actually. It makes sense if you don't have the archers to go Cav Archers. I like the fact he's going to mix in a knight as well. And Kasva's going to go Eagles. Kasva has 2 barracks, but he's building a 3rd. And Lewis with a nice engagement there. Archers could still get some value. The skirms will come through. I think he kind of panicked when he made those skirms earlier just because of the archers. But they could still be helpful, and Lewis is going to get the pickoffs. Again, it's just the theme is Lewis's eco is untouched. Except for that one moment. This is still an issue. I think Lewis's woodline will be an area Kasva will try and exploit. With all the towers Kasva has, I think he'll do the same thing he did before. I think he'll counterattack. And Lewis knows exactly where that counterattack would be, and it's going to be there on the woodline. I like that a lot. Good TC spot. Eagle Warrior upgrade coming in for Kasva. Kasva's kind of letting this slip away a little bit. He needs his armies to be upgraded here. Eagle Warrior's on the way. Lewis is going to be booming and adapting. And that's actually what I typically see from Lewis. You don't kill him, he takes that big eco lead against you. There's many aspects of his play which are very different than someone like Hera. But I would say there's a theme. I mean, all the best players typically take a bit of an eco lead. They open aggressively, and then they just try and outboom you, right? Speaking of booms, I'd love to see a demo here at some point. And typical Kasva, he's just running right to the woodline. He's like, I know you might not have your tower or TC, but there's a TC there. Also, nice TC spot from Kasva, so he's 2 TCs. Full armor is in now for the Eagles. But Cav Archers are a problem. Like, Cav archers are actually really good against eagles and castle age. It's actually one of the best things you can make against eagles and castle age. Eagles only have 5 pierce armor, and cav archers do 8 damage. So it's 3 damage a hit, and you have the mobility to match. The one thing you can get with the eagles is you can get that mass. You can get that big group, and then you can maybe outnumber them. But a lot of these eagles have gotten sniped. And Lewis has pretty much been on par with the micro. And this is a very comfortable situation for a cav archer player. I think, if anything, Kasva would want to combine some scorpions. Moments like this become easier for Kasva if he's raiding somewhere else. But if Lewis isn't being hit, Lewis should be able to micro that. And another TC here for Kasva. That's a risky TC, but if he can get that up, that gold is critical. Because he's running out of gold on his hill. Chinese was #1 pick on the draft for Lewis, by the way. Mayans was the late pick from Kasva. He did have Persians available. I forget what the other maps are right now. I know one of them's Zhong. Maybe chat could remind me what the other maps are. But this is looking better and better for Lewis here. 2 TCs. I think he may eventually drop the 3rd. Evacuation is the other map. Yeah, okay. So Persians could be really good there. And I guess the positive for Kasva will be that it's 3 TCs against 2. But maybe he switches out of eagles. Maybe he tries to go for plumes. He's pretty heavy on stone right now. Lewis dropping a university. Maybe for ballistics. And just needs to find damage. I think this would be frustrating to see, though. To see this TC and the fact that you couldn't deny it would be a pretty painful sight for me. You're not going to complain about the army control and the score lead and all of that. The trades have looked really good. But you really don't want to let your opponent get away with this. But he is camping behind the gold, and he is camping behind the wood. So that's perfect. Kasva's still banking up stone for a castle. That's the first good engagement we've seen from Kasva in a while. Lewis, I think, a little distracted. There will be some scorpions with the eagles. They'll be coming down the hill. Lewis is getting ballistics now, and Lewis might want to make a couple more knights. Lewis still 2 town centers. No 3rd TC, but he's had better production on them. And I really like his position. I think Kasva's clearly going to build a castle, I think, to protect the gold. A forward castle wouldn't work. But Kasva holding on here. It feels like a must-win for Lewis from here. With the amount of control that he has. And Kasva doing such a great job at staying alive. There's our 3rd TC for Lewis. It's a good position. The fact he's banking up stone as well makes me think he might want to go for a forward castle. The villager here makes me think he wants to go for a siege workshop. Oh, he doesn't even see that. Okay, no, now he sees, and now he has ballistics. He could deny this castle. He's actually going to abandon the idea of siege pushing that location now. And Kasva's going to toss his army in to complete this castle. That castle's going to go up. It's actually so crazy that Kasva got that castle up there. If he didn't have that castle, he's in such big trouble. But now, he has 3 scorpions. He has eagles. The castle protects his eco. Now he can mix in plumes. The scorpions could deny the siege workshop. And they do. And now Lewis is... I mean, Kasva can freely boom. Kasva's eagles are going to move away and maybe go for a raid. Things get interesting. I like how Lewis has to attack that gate just to pass through. That's so funny. For the first time in a long time, Kasva's going to go out to raid, and Lewis is going to be chasing. Now, he'll see this, but this is what Kasva's been waiting for a long time, is finally to have Lewis responding to him. Lewis will see this. I'm sure he'll kill this off. He does garrison, though. He does have to bring his army back here. It gives Kasva some time to cook, but what's the plan? What's the army comp here? Quick walls from Lewis. Feels like it's going to be, again, like it's 2018. Maybe double castle, triple castle plumes as the play for Kasva. He's got 7 plumes right now. He did see all the cav archers are there, and now Lewis is up. I mean, if Kasva can get the numbers of plumes and scorps to take a good fight against these CA before Lewis is up, he could win this game. The Vil count's going to be even. It's just all about these CA right now. That's what Lewis needs to upgrade. And, oh, he's very fortunate. That could have been worse. Bodcanero's on the way for the plumes. Now, Lewis also is probably going to want a castle in a position that allows him to treb this, which requires some forward movement. Kasva sees the Cav archers are here now. This, I think, is Lewis coming to this position for the castle right now. We might see the Vils come forward. Doesn't have the stone yet, but is close enough to maybe bring the Vils. Plumes are going to go raid. Classic Kasva. Lewis buys the stone. Lewis will come complete the workshop. Lewis is going to castle there. That's interesting. And then over here, there are plumed archers raiding him. And Cav archers for Lewis are going to head into the back now. Kasva has the villager lead. Lewis has collected so many more resources, though. And is starting to get relics and is about to be an imp. Castle number 2 from Kasva. That's a fine castle because you just want it for plume production, right? Lewis still has the plumes to deal with. Still no ballistics on the plumes. Plumes can be amazing if you can get to elite. Lewis ventures all this way just to see a castle. You don't want to go too far here for you, Lewis. You need to get back. You need to get back to where your castle is. Population so close. Lewis is up faster. Almost went a little too far, and Kasva taps out. I was expecting a little bit more fight there from Kasva, honestly. I thought we would still see him play this out. Population, I think the game's a little closer than maybe the score is suggesting at the bottom right. I think maybe based on that, based on the imp times, he thinks this is probably a 30 or 40 villager lead for Lewis, but Lewis wins the first game. Now, do I think Lewis is going to win that game anyways? Absolutely. I do, but in this moment, considering the stakes, I'm very surprised Kasva's resigned. Kasva's normally the opposite. Normally, Kasva's playing on and fighting a lot more. I think what probably happens is the Cav archers for Lewis are going to regroup. They'll protect the trebs. They'll start to pressure the TC and the castle, and Kasva will have some issues as he goes up to imp. Lewis will have the eco lead. Lewis will have the army lead, but maybe eventually Kasva, could have made some mistakes there. But well played from Lewis. The start was disastrous for him, right? He got flexed on with the scout. He couldn't get his dock up. He looked really confused, but he stuck to the basics there, just macroed away, trusted the Chinese, and trusted his gameplay. I think Cav Archers was perfect for Castle Age, and his macro was just fantastic there. So now, see, Lewis is not 1 win away from being guaranteed first, okay? But he's 2 wins away from being guaranteed first. Now, he can win this 2-1, and depending on what happens with Kasva Ganji, maybe he will get first. It really depends, but the score 1-0 for Lewis. And I just realized I wasn't recording this for YouTube. No! Sorry, YouTube. You got to stick with 1080p. You'll get 4K for game number 2 and game number 3. Ah, yikes. Streamer's worst feeling. All right, so game number 2. Now, I'll clarify this because someone asked. Gold League only has 2 bans on the draft, so that's not a mistake. Gold League has had that the whole season, all right? So, Lewis, 1 win away from first place somewhat in this group. There's still a world where if Lix 3-0s Ganji and Lewis wins 2-1 here, Lix would go first. So, obviously, still got to get those wins. We've got Lewis playing as the Malians. We've got Kasva playing as the Armenians. And this is actually the home map for Lewis. So Kasva choosing this right away. And you see his scout's gone forward right away as well. So the first game he tried to lame. This game as well, he's going forward. Now, I can't tell you what it is. But I know a thing, okay? And I'm going to show you. You're going to see it eventually if you pay attention to Titans League. But there's just a thing, okay? And I can't say any more than that because I will betray people's trust. We might be seeing the thing, okay? We might be seeing the thing from Kasva. I will give credit where credit is due. I will explain what that means at a certain point, but Kasva brings his scout forward super early. I don't know why. I think he clicked the cow home expecting it to path this way, and it actually, the shortest route was right towards Lewis's base, so Lewis gets the cow. But Kasva headed to the opponent's base first. He's going to start the cow finding from the opponent's side so he can get them faster. So clearly this is an important part of the strategy here. All right. Also, Kasva with the mule cart on the straggler tree for now. I mean, why not? But it's cow collect city for Kasva. Lewis brought in his rhino. Lewis headed to wood. And Lewis is going cow hunting. He may find a couple out here, but he's not going to find as many as Kasva because of Kasva's opening scout strat. I think this is a good move. Pushing deer on this map is not helpful. Also, are there deer? Well, there are deer out here. And Lewis is going to push them now. But I think maybe Lewis can justify it because he doesn't have the cows. But how many games have we seen where people use their scout in this area, and then in mid-feudal they don't have to build any farms? And Kasva's got the mule cart. And usually what you'll do is you'll go water with the Armenians in combination with land. That's everything you tend to see on this map. Malians are also really good at that. T90, can you clarify why the gold draft is different than platinum? Is this to encourage more strategy / prep in gold? It's basically because gold happened before, and I didn't feel it made sense to change. Like, people prepped for gold under the rule set that we had, and after seeing some gold sets and having conversations, I felt like maybe one draft would be better for plat. So it would have been unfair for me to change what gold had already started with because people prepped for it. But platinum hadn't begun yet, and I felt it was slightly better. So there's no, like, deep reasoning beyond wanting it to be slightly more structured. Gotta love when that Vils gets stuck there. But that's been the case all season. And guys, I think we're going to see the thing. All right? I think we're going to see the thing. I'm just telling you. I can't tell you yet. There's so many possibilities with Armenians, right? It could be mule cart wall. It could be fortified priests rush. It could be quadruple monastery monks. It could be composite bowman, fast castle, fast imp, Draman. It could be so many different things. Whatever will it be? But listen, I loved how Lewis was able to adjust on the fly in the previous game to the craziness. I will add this, though. If anything surprises him here, he's no longer Chinese on Acropolis. No longer has the cheaper techs, no longer has the additional bills. Chinese are one of the best civs in the game. Malians are flexible. Malians are great. But if your strategy's not panning out with them, you could potentially have some big problems. So pushing in some deer. He doesn't have any cows underneath his TC. We'll bring the Vils to the outside. Most likely to the wood line. And then later on we could see the mill. Actually has 2 areas of berries. And the boar. Kasva is going to send Vils to the outside as well. Yes, it seems like he's going to send some Vils to the outside. So in theory, you don't have to do that with the Armenians because you could just stay here. And there are 6 cows underneath the TC. There's 2 sheep. There's a lot going on. 3 fish on the back for Kasva. He'll go mule cart right here. His gold is a little bit further away. Now, that's not fixed. That just is kind of out there randomly. The berries and the deer and the boar are fixed, but everything else is somewhat random. He doesn't actually know about that. So he'll need to find that later on. And it's just 1 dock for Kasva. He'll drop a barracks now. And it is going to be pretty much the same build from Lewis, it seems. Though Lewis doesn't have food underneath his TC. There was a big difference there. So if Lewis loses fish, it's so much worse for him. Kasva sees the barracks now. So, yeah, walling to the shoreline is something everyone's doing these days on this map. Nice hits here from Lewis. Oh, wow, Kasva's scout, I think he misclicked it there, so he didn't actually get the 1 downhill hit. He does get 2 downhill hits, but there's a spearman now. Kasva looking at home, maybe. Oh! Okay, he makes his way on by, and then the gate from Lewis, and then I think Lewis gets another hit, and the scout gets away. Fire galley from Lewis on water. We'll see if that moves forward. Plenty of time for Kasva to make his own. And the important thing is Kasva saw the stable opening for Lewis. Lewis is actually housed at the moment, so he can't produce that next scout. And Kasva's going to wall to the edge. There's another thing I mentioned earlier, chat, when we were talking about the potential for the thing. Pikemen in Feudal Age. Think about it. Think about it. Could be interesting. Could actually go longswords in Feudal Age. That could be the other thing. Now you're wondering, am I trying to throw you off the scent, or have I listed the thing already? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about half the time, honestly. I just open my mouth and words come out. So, like the play from Lewis, scouts and archers could be really solid here. And he sniped the scout there from Kasva, so Kasva won't be able to move forward and see the range. I don't think that'll come as a huge surprise. Over on this side, Lewis looking to wall. And that's a lot of walling to do, but earlier on in group stage, he did the same. He full walled that eventually. Spears defensively for Kasva. Lewis's fire galley's finally moving out. I think he kept it at home initially. And Lewis gets 2 hits from the spear there. Kasva gates him. That could have been multiple dead scouts. Well played for both. And this tiny little army from Kasva won't accomplish much. I like the adjustments now. We saw it from Stone Police too. Everyone's starting to get walls up here. Just makes things so much less chaotic on this map. Lewis's scouts haven't done much. Remember, he's going to need to farm soon. And Lewis does not see this army, you guys. He doesn't know about it. He's not walled yet. He does see that archer, though. That could be a kill. But sneaky from Kasva, and Lewis's archers are also in the middle of the map. This could be really frustrating for Lewis. He does react immediately. Great reaction. It could have been so much worse for him. Maybe with some quick wall shenanigans, he saves the Vil. But Kasva's going to have some bigger things to worry about, so I think that's part of why we're seeing him struggle to move on a little bit more. But the Spearman gets the Vil kill. All the army for Lewis comes home. On water, Lewis hasn't killed the fishing ship and is losing his fire. It might be fire number 2 that he loses, but he does end up clearing up the sneak army there from Kasva. And now immediately goes for lots of farms. This will be a pretty solid army here from Lewis. Scouts and archers. But I just keep thinking about the cows. Cows are on the mind, guys. What can I say? He still hasn't had the farm. He's just now placed the mill on the outside. Lewis maybe it's unfair to say he's a defensive player. He just likes to fall into a defensive position, which is different, I guess, than a defensive player. He has opened aggressively with the fires. He has opened with scouts and archers. I really like this move, guys. I think, yeah, you can be punished by it, but with so much going on, if you get the walls down, it makes life so much easier. Then look at Kasva, who's bringing in a boar right now. And Kasva is just exposed out here on the mill. Only 1 villager there, too. He's got 5 spears. He's got 5 archers. So another game where Kasva just not really going for the ratio of normal armies we see these days. And, oh, man, it's because he doesn't have the micro. He doesn't have the micro of Lewis. That was such a good engagement. The spears are essentially useless in the army. So this scout archer approach from Lewis looking clean yet again. And that farming eco is great. Idle TC's been pretty smooth for both. Water's still something to pay attention to. Lewis wants to go first in the group. Now, it's kind of unfortunate that there's gold and stone back here for Kasva, so Kasva can do a lot there. But this is great. All of this is walled up. Kasva doesn't know about it. Kasva may try and counter to the outside. Lewis needs to try and break Kasva before Kasva clicks to Castle Age. I don't think he has the army to do it right now. It is 2 range for Kasva, so he should be able to even out the archer count. And the scouts don't really do as much. Still fighting on water. Lewis is blocking with the weak fire behind, and that's a beautiful play. Beautiful play. So he's still got a bit of an edge there on water. What a close game. This is much closer than the first game. And this is Lewis's home map as well. We'll have Zhong for map number 3. And Kasva will hold. Kasva with 6 archers. Lewis with 8 archers. Lewis on 1 range. Kasva on 2. This is super even. But I can't help but think about the fact that this is all still wide open. I can't help but think about the fact that Kasva doesn't know about that gold. If he scouted that gold, life could get easier for him. But he only has this gold in his sights, and that's exposed. Also, if he loses water control, he can't cross out there very easily, which Lewis, he's doing a good job of being active with the Navy. That's not the best example of it, but still has some fires. Stable now from Kasva, so he may want to go for knights. Lewis didn't sell any of his stone, didn't tower, so could maybe comfortably TC out here. I'd say a TC here is great. It protects the gold and the wood. But there's a lot of army from Kasva, and while the micro has been perfect from Lewis most of the game, that's not an example of that. And now he'll be a little later to Castle Age. Kasva's got a little bit of time to think. Kasva's getting bloodlines? Is he going to go Armenian Cav Archers? I swear, man, this Cav Archer situation's crazy. Oh, that's great from Lewis. He didn't take the spears, guys. He took the archers. That's a horrible fight for Kasva. Horrible fight for Kasva. Like, you're about to get your upgrades and you lose your entire army. That was so good from Lewis. And guys, in the blink of an eye, it just completely turns around the way I see this game. I felt there's a moment there for Kasva. He just has not been able to keep his archers alive this game. Now, that's probably him reacting here. That's probably him looking around. Do I have gold? Please tell me he'll see that. No way, dude. Okay, he sees it. He finds it. He can mule over there. But the plan was to have, like, control of the game. That was his moment. He would have control of the game. He could be forcing Lewis back. He needs to just change decisions now. He has to go Siege Workshop defense, all because of losing those crossbows. And now Lewis, he's getting ballistics with the Malians. But Kasva's defended very nicely here. House walls, stone walls, tower, Siege Workshop. I don't think ballistics will do much. A little surprised that Lewis hasn't tried to go to the outside. I wonder if his own walls have influenced that. Like, maybe now he does? And there's his TC. But if he was out here, Kasva's completely dead. Kasva still may be completely dead out there, even just to 4 crossbows. 4 crossbows with ballistics can be devastating. Lewis is playing super smooth right now, guys. Can't be too critical of anything. I think he sold stone at one point to get ballistics. I'm sure he'll buy it back. He is about to run out of gold, though. But it's not that big a deal. When you've cleared up that big of an army, it's not really that big of a deal. And that's been the worry for Kasva, is just the unit control. I think the strategy's been great this whole series. But there's definitely a difference in unit control. Siege Workshop for Lewis in the middle could shut down any Scorpion defense. And TC from Kasva going up. Lewis doesn't know about any of this. And he's actually heading to the more typical area. He'll find the Warrior Priest. The Warrior Priest is going to die. But the TC will go up for Kasva. And, oh man, and the Scorpions get the clear up there. Tricky map to play, guys. So, other maps... You want to drop the OMGs, WTFs when someone loses a couple units. Go for it. But, I mean, this map, it's just kind of expected, especially in Gold League. Just not quite as crisp as the very top guys, but... Kasva hanging in. Kasva hanging in. Only a 4 crossbow counterattack for Lewis. He'll run directly into the TC fire, so there goes some units there. Now, he's microing here, and he's... so he'll lose the crossbows in the north, but he kills like 4 or 5 crossbows here. And Mangonel crossbows now really difficult for Kasva to deal with. Especially if Lewis has hills here. I think the key for Lewis, as long as you're on those TCs, as long as you're booming, you're going to be happy. And it's 3 TCs, so much faster for him. He's even headed to stone. So that could be for a forward castle. That could be for a 4th town center eventually. Idle TC time's impressive from both. 28 seconds for Kasva, 50 seconds for Lewis. But let's see if Kasva can defend this. I feel like it's going to be kind of unlikely that Kasva can match Lewis's boom if he has to deal with this as well. This is really frustrating to deal with. Chat, this is embarrassing. Oh my god, that was a crazy shot. So forget my point. That was a massive shot there. I was wondering if you could put crossbowmen inside of the fortified churches. I feel like I should know that at this point. Maybe it's deep down in my memory bank. Now Lewis loses his mangonel. And Lewis is going to get the snipe. Because if you could put the crossbowman in the church, it might have made some sense. It doesn't shoot the mangonel. It won't range the mangonel, but... Man, bad day to be a warrior priest in Kasva's economy. Lewis is looking good, guys. Lewis is looking good. Lewis is looking confident. And you know what Lewis loves? He loves a good old boom. I'd like to see another TC for him. I actually think that's his best chances. He's doing so well here. Kasva's going to go crazy army to try and defend this. It's going to be a long game still, though. So just boom it out a little bit. Easier said than done. They still have to focus so much on the micro. And Kasva holds. My goodness, man. And Kasva's fallen way behind economically, but still... Oh! Lewis has to be careful. I actually think this is a good spot for Lewis to go knights. Or like light cav. Like, you can use that over here to stop your opponent from getting relics. There's not many crossbowmen now. You've got a decent enough food eco. So I think... Also, rushing imp timings is kind of awkward with the melee. You know, you don't get bracer. I feel like it'd be pretty good to have some cav on the field right now. But we knew this would be rough for Kasva after he lost his army initially. Oh, God. He could lose his army again. Lewis is micro. Kills the Vil. Takes out the mangonel. Takes out the next mangonel. And Lewis takes out 3 mangonels in the middle. That's just the difference, dude. That's just been the difference in the series. Is Lewis's unit control is just a step up. And then he's able to do what he needs behind it. With the eco. Kasva just now realizing he doesn't have Bodkin, which has been a pretty big problem. I guess when you lose all your crossbows right away in early Castle Age, you never really have a chance to realize that. And Lewis just keeps coming. Feels like Lewis is going to go imp instead of heavy Castle Age army. And I mean, why not? When the fights are looking so good for you, and you're feeling this confident, why not? Look at the micro again from Lewis. He's a maniac. Crazy, man. I mean, he's like, take me to platinum. Take me to platinum right now. I was sick of the silver bracket when I had to be there. I made my way through it. And that'd be crazy. Actually, we need to look back through the other seasons. There's a possibility that multiple people will have come through from silver and go immediately all the way to plat. I guess it's kind of tricky because that starting season, choosing, like setting up, seeding the players, all that stuff was maybe a little bit less balanced than having multiple seasons sort itself out. I love this from Lewis. The crossbows get great value. Kasva's got some big problems here. There's still this Kasva has to look at. He's 20 vils behind. We may see a forward castle for Lewis. He's just focusing on this church. I mean, without that church, I'm not sure Kasva would have a TC anymore on the mainland. But that might still come. Because Lewis just can't stop, won't stop with the micro right now. And that's the thing. You just think about the early Castle Age situation. Ever since Lewis won that big fight, it's made life a lot easier for him in a lot of ways. Kasva, he needed the initiative. He tried to take the initiative with the dock in the first game. And then he had his moment. Now, here's the first real counterattack we see from Kasva in all of Castle Age. And he is defending very nicely here as well. Okay, that's sick defense from Kasva. But it's almost as if Lewis is focusing somewhere else at the moment. And there it is. Castle's going up on the front. Mangonels may be killed by the warrior priest, but this is what it's all about. And Kasva, no! Kasva, no! Okay, he'll at least see the castle is there because it's attacking his university. Surely he'll notice. Oh, God. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Pow. Kasva, my friend. Oh, yikes. What a tough spot. What a tough spot. I mean, even if he notices now, he doesn't notice. He's like, Lewis's micro is crap all of a sudden. Why can't Lewis micro? Did he drop? He's killing everything Lewis has in the middle. He's like, man, this is a completely different player. And it's because Lewis is looking at this. His eyes are lighting up. He can't believe it's happening. But Kasva does realize it. Kasva will drop the castle here, but Lewis's castle is perfect to make trebs. Man, we have some drama here. Because this win will confirm that Kasva doesn't get first, and he'll go to playoffs. But it does not confirm that Lewis actually gets first place. He would need to get the 3-0 to get first place. Or he needs Licks not to get a 3 over Ganji, and guess we'll see. Castle will go up for Kasva. Kasva now 30 Vils behind. And Lewis can immediately make trebs, and he will. And guys, Lewis's economy is just absolutely insane. 60 on food. 3 relics already. He's definitely trebbing this castle down. Kasva has no easy way to save that. And Kasva doesn't actually have golds. Kasva has nowhere he can take gold. Well, he could go to the middle. I guess there's those golds there. But that's it. These castles fully secure the gold. And look at Lewis's vision and map control with the outposts. Lewis can see it all. Super clean play. And Kasva, I think, again, he's had the strats. I think like, if you look at the amount of units produced, how they open, game one's maybe a little bit different. But in this game, I think he had a great position. And then Lewis takes one fight, and Lewis just does everything he needs behind it, man. And that's kind of the making of the best players in Age of Empires 2, is that description right there. They used a couple good fights to snowball into leads, and then they just outboom you. Guard tower defense here from Lewis. He didn't have an immediate defense for this army, but the Gabetto are slaughtering the escapees from Kasva. That's not actually gold you can mine, by the way. And Kasva, it's not a gold, bro. That's not a gold. Oh, he's so desperate. I think Lewis is waiting to get the light cav to come clear this up. He takes out the castle. And this is Lewis's game, guys. This is Lewis's time. What a great performance. Super smooth. He's still waiting. Still being patient. Still waiting for the armor. I guess maybe the light cav go forward. He can kind of do either. This army doesn't really do much. And yeah, Kasva knows I've got no gold. He's had no gold for like 5 minutes. And man, what a smooth play. Like, to boom that smoothly behind the micro was huge. But I want to go back just real quick, because you always want to look back at moments that things could have gone differently. There was another instance earlier where archers went down for Kasva. But it really was this moment. Like, so before the fight, it's 63 population versus 62, okay? Maybe Lewis has a slight edge on water, who knows? Maybe Lewis is better farm setup, who knows? But res collected, Kasva slightly ahead. And these are the moments you've got to force the issue. It's 11 archers against 12 archers. Crossbows coming in already for Kasva. And he's just doing something else here. And now Lewis recognizes it. Kasva's never expecting his opponent to be out on the map when he's just hit Castle Age. But Lewis doesn't just patrol. He doesn't take the spears. Look, there's 4 spears there. He leaves the spears, and he snipes the archers. So by the time Kasva realizes, Kasva doesn't have his upgrades yet. Those are still Feudal Age units, and Kasva loses everything. And now, because of this moment, everything else changes. Lewis can go for TCs, and he can boom. And then Kasva has to go for a Siege Workshop. Kasva has to adapt the rest of his play to that mistake. And I think that's what Kasva will want back. And Lewis took full advantage of it, obviously, once he got the lead. Slightly better fights, much better economy. Lewis up 2-0. Needs the 3-0 to guarantee first. It is still not confirmed. So if Lewis wins this one, he is confirmed first place and moving to platinum. If he loses this, it all depends on what happens with Lix and Ganji, which will happen immediately after this. Now, this was actually Kasva's home map, which he chose not to play at game number 2. And he's playing as the Lithuanians, and he's going to wood right now. And I think Kasva is doing this so he can get the relics in his base really early. So usually with Lithuanians, you go to wood super early if you can dock. You can't do that on this map. Oh, let's also switch the colors. Sorry. They switched colors. Let me switch them back. So basically you have these shrines, and the shrines can produce priests for 75 gold. They have 5 range, can convert and can heal and can pick up relics. But you can't put... This is funny. You can't actually put the relics inside of the shrines. So I think Kasva's plan is to get all the relics back inside of his walls before Castle Age. And then Lewis is probably just gonna, boom and adapt with Melee. Both civs will do that, but like Melee is definitely the better arena civ overall. Now, you can't actually see this relic, but you can see the glow. And I've seen this before, and players can pick it up. Sometimes I get really concerned that it's bugged. So even though we can't see it, the glow shows you the relic is there. I don't know why that happens, but Kasva actually used sheep. Bro, look. That's hilarious. Kasva found all the relics with sheep. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that in my whole career. He found all 5 relics with sheep, and his scout was just pushing deer. Now, the last time Kasva played this map, I think he was Cumans. And while he was feudal booming with Cumans, he did make priests and get the relics. But he didn't go to wood this early. So this is like super early chop out. He'll be through that tree. That's 150 wood, but still, he'll be through that tree. This is all part of the plan. And then Lewis is not planning on chopping out. So Lewis is not thinking about making the priests early, which is still fine. Like, I actually think one of the best things you can do here as the Melee is fast feudal and just eco boom. And I actually think we might see this be disastrous for Kasva if he does that. But yeah, we'll see. But to explain why it would be disastrous, basically, if Lewis just goes feudal and patrols his scout out here, the priest could just die. So it's not just a given. Where is the priest, by the way? Oh, he's right there. It's not just a given that Kasva's going to get these, because the scout could always deny that. Lewis uses the scout to bring in the boar, or Kasva does. He will then heal up the scout with the priest. And 75 wood away from chopping through. Lewis is a long way away. I don't even think he'll micro the vills. But Lewis has no real way of knowing that Kasva's going to get these this early. The priest heals up. Kasva, is he going to go... This is going to be a fast uptime. Okay, and now Lewis clicks up. Yeah, so like, you rush to feudal. You get your wood upgrade, you get your farm upgrade, and as long as you're active with your scout in the middle... Holy birds, by the way. The birds have chosen the winner. As long as your scout's in the middle, the priest can't get the relics. Like, I feel like a feudal boom just protects you from someone getting all the relics. If it's a fast castle, it's different, but... I mean, priest still isn't out. Kasva will be up pretty quickly himself here, though. And this could actually be a fast castle. This doesn't feel like a feudal boom. I don't even know, though. His eco doesn't look that strong. I feel like he's trying it, but... maybe Kasva feels like he needs some extremes right now to beat Lewis. Sending a bunch to gold. It's actually good for Kasva that he sees Lewis is in feudal. Because knowing Lewis is in Feudal should tell you not to move out with your priest. And, I see. So he's mining the gold to make more priests. Okay. Kind of forgot about that. Even though that's kind of obvious. So, really important part of Kasva's strategy is to get these relics. Especially with Lithuanians, because he can have a really strong cav. Yes, someone says, is the chemistry bug fixed? No, we just let the chemistry bug here for 4.5 weeks, dude. Yes, we fixed that. Good memory, though. We did fix that. That would be kind of concerning. We fixed it 3 hours after it happened. All right, so now Kasva should be trying to keep an eye on the relics himself to see if that scout's out there. Okay, so Lewis gets the first hit and the second, and they were downhill. Lewis will be feeling good. Kasva should run back home now. Oh, or to the priest to heal. And now Lewis says, I need to kill that priest. And he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He needs the wins, people, to confirm first. And the priest says denied. He may be weak, but he's still somehow going to take that relic back home. And now there's spears out there. And there should be another priest on the way. You could get all 5 relics there. So I don't think Lewis was expecting any of that. I also don't think his initial plan was to add scouts or anything here. But I think it's clear now. His opponent's going to get those, and he's correctly adapting. I think this is a good play. Nice job. How does Lewis need this win when he's clear number 1 after this? Because he's not clear number 1 after this. That's why. Because if only we had a site, Kavangera, that would show the probabilities and the odds of what could potentially happen with each result today. So basically the way it works, though, if you're too lazy to go to site. So if Lix gets a 3-0 and Lewis gets a 2-1, Lix gets first. That's why. They will be tied, and Lix will beat him in the tiebreak. But T90, you tell us not to use the site. That's true. That's true. The site has been crashing because people have been going to it, so... Lix sees the other scout, and now... not Lix, sorry, Kasva. So now he knows to be careful, but... he does have 3 relics in his walls. He even deleted part of his wall so he could bring that relic in there. And, ooh, Lewis. Nice snipe. Kasva can't make another scout, right? And the economy should always be much better for the Malay here. So if it's 3-2 with the relic trade, I think Lewis will be fine with that. This only gets really bad if it's 5 relics for Kasva. Also, Lewis has horse collar. I mean, like, Lewis is flying. Malay, in my opinion, are extremely OP. And an amazing civ to draft here. It was a great draft from Lewis overall. Chinese is also extremely OP if you play them great, which he did. Malians, I don't know if OP is the word, but they could be really solid, which he obviously played perfectly. Lewis snipes the old priest from before, but will have to work pretty hard to stop this relic from coming in. He tries to. He does kill it. There's one more priest to go, but there's a lot of weak scouts, and these are Lithuanian spears. And Lewis says, I don't care. I'm just going to send it, and he... oh, God. Yeah, Lewis, I mean, not a player who typically plays a lot of arena maps. You could tell he really felt like he had to force it there. And he's adding even more scouts now. Oof. I'm not sure I love that, but I get the thinking. You do not want the Lithuanian player to get these relics. Kasva's working pretty hard here. Dude, this is crazy micro. Guys, does the priest make it or no? Answer quick. I could see why you would lean with yes, but Lewis is going to get more desperate. Go get it! Go get it! Oh! Oh! And see, that's why I was just ever so slightly surprised that Lewis added more scouts, because I think you just really got to get Castle here. But he will get this relic. Ah, and Kasva's not going to get that. Kasva has no way to snipe that because he doesn't have scouts. So Lithuanians, you get +1 attack on your knights and Latus for each relic in the monastery. Now, you can't put them in the shrines, but you can make a monastery when you're in Castle Age. So I think that's exactly why Kasva picked Lithuanians. That's what he wants. Now his knights are going to be insane. But his knights will be insane against the Malay. And Malay, always faster to Castle Age. Malay will always have more vills due to the age up speed. Horse Collar was in way faster for Lewis. Lewis will drop the TCs faster. Like, 4 relics isn't necessarily just a GG here. I think Lewis is actually still in the better position if he's able to use it properly. But now maybe on a little bit of a clock of some kind. Do Malay need to delay? They do need to delay, yeah. It's funny, though. Malay needed to delay, and now these days, it's like Malay beat you. People play Malay differently than they did back when that saying was common. Wow, Kasva's going to drop how many town centers here? He bought stone. This feels like an immediate 4 TC boom. He also doesn't have loom. This is pretty crazy to walk out here. But there he goes. No loom. And that should be TC number 2. Then there should be a monastery in the back where he'll get the relics. There's TC2. There's TC3. And he even has the wood to drop another one. Maybe he drops it on stone now? Does that make sense? Yeah. I actually really like that here because you need to catch up in villagers, and Lithuanians get extra food when they finish their TCs. So that's really good. Where did the priest go? Ah, okay. 3 TCs for Lewis. But still, like, as Lewis snipes 1 vill because of no loom. Still, Lewis's game plan should be very simple. If anything, it's simpler now than it was before. You win an early imp. And how you do that? Most likely some some pikes, arbalest, forward castle, fast trebs, fast bombard cannons. Beat the opponent to the timing. Could potentially raid this out here, but what are you really going to raid with at this point? Interesting game. Robrisk, thanks for the 32 months. By the way, I wasn't trying to be rude. I'm not seeing their name in chat now. I forget the exact spot. I wasn't trying to be rude earlier, by the way, when I said, just look at the site. I didn't mean it to be like that. I was just being sarcastic, you know? I like this from Kasva, house wall up. Might even stonewall that to the edge. That's cool. I think the best thing that Kasva can actually open with is Skirm, which is kind of weird. Skirms are good against Malay. Skirm hand cannon actually feels better for me than going knights. But when you have 4 relics, it feels like you want to go knights. Still no loom, and villager goes down. Loom is in queue for Kasva behind some villagers here. House is going up for Lewis. Lewis's eco is flying. Again, Malay are insane. Like, look at the difference in resources collected here. And there's nothing that Kasva can really do about it. Unless he was extremely aggressive, which then he wouldn't have got the relics. But even then on Arena, it's kind of hard to do that. I like this from Lewis. He's like, I know you want to wall up. I've been looking for some damage with something. I'm not going to allow you to get the easy wall up here. It'll get pretty messy out here. Just gives them something to focus on. Crossbow for Lewis. Fletching for Lewis. He's got 3 ranges already, so he's about to start taking that map control. Snipes one of the priests. Loses his scout. He's going to lose his next scout, and now he's going to lose his priest. So I don't know if that was necessarily the best for Lewis, but it's also like, did Kasva produce extra spears here? Was Kasva booming the same? Was Kasva able to place the farms? I mean, it probably affected Kasva to some degree. And Kasva now goes for 5 TCs. Oh my goodness, man. I mean, his eco is going to be ridiculous. But Lewis is going to take map control and drop a forward castle on his face. Guys, Lewis has been very active on the ladder. Very good and ranked. But so much of what you've seen from him in TTL is a product of practice. No one's at the top, by the way, in gold. without having practiced a lot. Actually, I don't know about Rapard. Rapard has been a pretty crazy outlier in the one group. I'd have to ask him. I don't even know if he'd respond, but like, there's been a lot of practice sets, especially for people who realize that they could go playoffs. But Lewis is like, playoffs? We don't want no freaking playoffs. This win here would send him immediately to platinum. And there's the castle. Now that's I mean, if Mem was casting with me, he would call this a chicken castle. It's not. I mean, I don't hate it. It's still a forward castle. But it could have gone a little bit more forward. He feels like his position's too good. He doesn't want to throw from here. I guess he didn't have Loom. And Kasva's going to go all in Castle Age against this. Oh, man. But does he have the gold for that? He needs a lot more gold income. Look at the eco for Kasva, which is protected, by the way, because there's this house wall where there's totally not a hole, right? There's totally not a hole, right? Oh, dude, I thought there was a hole. I totally thought there was a hole. So what's Lewis's army? He's going to have 11 crossbows. That'll have Bracer. He sees the stable, so he knows, but you're kind of committed. Trying to go pikes now is kind of tough. I actually think monks are really helpful here. Kasva can see, or rather Lewis, can see exactly what Kasva's going to do. Siege Workshop, stables. That's a good move from Lewis, walling this up. The Knights will have +4 attack from relics, plus whatever attack upgrades he gets. But imp upgrades are still really valuable. The Castle Fire will still be really valuable. I think maybe you just stop after 2 trebs. Do you even need more trebs? As long as they're walled in and firing all the time, you just focus everything else on crossbowmen. Kasva will need a lot of knights. I like how Lewis is playing this. Crazy Imperial Age time here. And this is also the best thing that Kasva can do, in my opinion, to come back. There's no other way you stop this now. You have to go full army. But that's just so much army and so much damage. I think Lewis is thinking Mangonel behind the castle. That's why he's going Siege Workshop. Because he's worried the Rams and the Knights could take him out. Still not seeing any monks. Kasva's going to loop units around. He doesn't see too much. Lewis can see all that with his reinforcements. Kasva's attack doesn't do too much there. He loses those knights when they're ejected from the stable that was trebbed down. Oh, but Kasva's holding the gate. Oh, never mind. Well, okay, never mind. Kasva's in. Doesn't matter if he held the gate or not. He's in. Lewis was not expecting that. And now Lewis might get pushed on the front. There's not a ton of army from Kasva yet, but that's devastating, man. What a find from Kasva. That's the last thing Lewis was expecting. Lewis was expecting this. And so here come the Rams, but Kasva, you have no army now. You kind of need some army. And Lewis is making... No! Okay, it's fine. Lewis is making a Mangonel. He's making some Karambits. He's bringing some Vils. He's still losing a lot, but Kasva needs protection for the Rams. Still saving up some Knights, but losing those stables was so tough, and he's starting to lose some eco now. If Lewis can build another castle forward, that would probably end the game. Now, for Kasva, he's already going to the playoffs. This doesn't relegate him or anything, but $20 per win, and he came in with a lot of confidence he could win this series. His pop is still crazy. He just has no space right now. Look at him patrol around on some of these golds, too. But that's where Lewis is. And a castle for Kasva. Okay. I mean, if Kasva can keep massing knights, if he can get up to 20 knights with 5 rams, I think he could actually win the fight. Knight is patrolling there to find reinforcements. Lewis's army that went home to deal with the raid is coming to the main group. But will they be here in time? Kasva, I really think you have to delete your walls here. Your walls are hurting your chances here. Well, actually, no, don't delete these walls because Lewis is behind them. Here are the Rams from Kasva. Kasva will take out the Trebs. Kasva's castle will go down, though. But will Lewis's go down? Man, the gate addition from Lewis is absolutely fantastic. Like, without the gates, I think I'm worried for him here. But look at the ram pathing. Kasva, you've got to bring support. You have to bring the support now. A couple of these rams are weak. The Vills that are attacking these rams can't be hit immediately because the gates are there. And then there's just going to be 2 rams from Kasva. And look at the ball of Arbalest from Lewis. I think Lewis has done it. This should be it. Kasva is imping, but Lewis's castle will stay up. He finally got to the Arbalest upgrade, and 3 minutes away from him for Kasva. He cannot do it, and Lewis does not leave it up to chance. In the final series, he goes top of the group and will move on to Platinum for the next season. Crazy story for him. Crazy story. A couple years ago, he wasn't even 2K. Just slowly improving. He played more games of anyone over 2K in 2024 on the ranked ladder. And like I said, we'll see if we can actually talk to him here in a moment. Like I said, I know there's been a lot of preparation and lots of training. So it hasn't just been the talent, it's also been the hard work and the prep. And today, you know, Kasva came out with some strats, but it didn't feel like it felt like Kasva knew he needed a little bit of an edge in certain moments to beat Lewis today. Like, there was a skill difference, right? The wall around the dock, the play. Game 2 is fairly standard, but even here, like, this was an extreme thing that Kasva tried to think of to break a player that he maybe thought was more mechanically gifted. And he collected more res, but Lewis just hit him with the timings there. And it's unfortunate. I do think that was much closer than Kasva thought at this point. But the resources, you look at the res in the bank, and that is after everything he had in queue, like his Imperial Age, his Villagers, and his Knights were canceled. When someone resigns, their resources come back. So realistically, he only had 350 food. He only had like 400 gold. And that's about to be 40 arbs. Like, you just don't kill that here. You just don't really have a chance. So, good stuff for Lewis. This does make the series between Lix and Ganji more so about which position in the playoffs Lix goes into and if Ganji survives. This is the updated results. There's no way anyone can catch Lewis after that. Lewis goes 12 wins, 3 losses. It will be either Lix or Kasva in second or third place to play in the playoffs to get to Platinum, which could still happen for them. That will happen on the weekends. And then, still in the group, we don't know if Stone Please survives or not. That depends on if Ganji can get 2 wins off of Lix. So there's actually less pressure on Lix to get victories because he can't get first. And he's playoffs. But all the pressure's on Ganji, which is our next series. So let me see. I asked JBR if it was possible if we could get winners on a call.